I'm sitting here wearing what is clearly a hexagon cardigan to tell you about how I tried really, really hard to make a hexagon cardigan that didn't look like a hexagon cardigan and how I failed in that. Firstly, what's a hexagon cardigan? These are all beautiful hexagon cardigans. I became aware of it about 18 months, 2 years ago. I think that people have been making them a lot longer than that. It's basically, you crochet 2 hexagons, attach them to each other, and bam, you have a cardigan. It's been super popular. I've seen every single variation you can imagine, and I've always been really intrigued by the construction of it just because it looks so satisfying. I think the part of me that is still in year 3 at school doing origami on rainy days as a kind of like distract the kids activity. Year 4, I've got the TV, we need to do something with them, let's do origami. That side of me is very much alive, and I just love what looks like simple construction that turns into something you wouldn't expect. I don't think I personally have the kind of brain that could look at a hexagon and be able to kind of manipulate that in my mind into being like, oh, that's the front and back of a cardigan and a sleeve. Like, I do not have that kind of brain. I absolutely love the way these things were constructed. I wanted to be involved, but I absolutely hate how hexagon cardies look. So the reason I don't like hexagon cardies, I have multiple reasons. Firstly, I grew up in the north of England. I have lived in other places, but now I live back in the north of England, and if there's one thing that I will go out of my way to avoid, it's a draft. Absolutely hate a draft, and I've never seen any item of clothing look more drafty than a hexagon cardie. To me, a big bulky cardie, the entire point of wearing one is to be cozy, and I cannot imagine being cozy in these cardigans. The second thing is the amount of wool on your body for the little amount of warmth you get back. I mean, those things look big and there's just so much of them, and I don't mind a big bulky knit at all, but I don't want to wear a big bulky knit and have all of the kind of irritation of loads of fabric. It's a heavy piece of clothing. If you want to take it off and put it in your bag, it doesn't really fold down, and also still be cold. So there's that. Some of it is also aesthetic, the way that they just look so billowy and awkward and shapeless. And this is not to be mean or dismissive of anyone who wears them. I have seen multiple people in the world look good in a hexagon cardigan, but I truly believe they look good despite the hexagon cardigan, not because of it. I am not the kind of person who will ever be able to put on a hexagon cardigan and look chic or stylish or ethereal or elegant or any of those things. I will look like I'm wearing a big baggy sack of a cardigan, a little bit how I look now. And also just practically, like, I don't want anything that's drapey. Like, a lot of hexagon cardigans don't do up. And yeah, okay, it looks beautiful in this like one posed photo you've posted on Instagram, but what happens when you're making beans on toast and the edge of your cardigan flips into the beans? I need fastenings, I need zips and buttons and hooks, and yeah, anything where I'm just like floating around. I am not a forest nymph. I am not an ethereal creature of the air. I do not want floaty things. So there are all these reasons. At the same time, just really wanted to make 2 hexagons and sew them together and have that moment of like, when it all came together. I thought a few months ago that I had got a bit clever and had managed to find a way to make a hexagon cardigan and have the kind of the benefit of, you know, the construction and that satisfaction, and actually end up with a cool garment at the end. I was wrong, but I'm kind of okay with how it's turned out. So I'm going to now take you through what I thought I was doing to make it different and how it didn't work out that way at all. So firstly, I've just had a massive go about hexagon cardigans, but you know what's really fashionable at the minute? Hexagon shirts. And a shirt I love. A shirt is everything that a big baggy cardigan does not do. I love a shirt. I love the fabric, the yarn that these shirts are being made in. Like, look at all of these shirts. These like look really fucking cool. And they're being made in cotton and bamboo and linen. And I don't know why it didn't occur to me that I could do that. I think I saw all the bulky hexagon cardigans and was like, right, the only way to do this is in like really big, scratchy acrylic that is still going to let all the air in. And then I see these shirts and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do it in cotton. And then it would be lightweight for the summer. Yes, okay. If I want to take it off, it'll squeeze down quite small in my bag. I won't consider it drafty, I'll consider it cool and lightweight. I started making a hexagon shirt, and the way I approached it was to make it, as a lot of creators have done, and I've linked some tutorials in the comments which I included while I followed this, and I think that they do a really nice job of it. So I basically followed the first part of the hexagon cardigan where I made the 2 hexagons, and then I kept measuring it against myself, and then after a while I felt like the sleeves were long enough, so I pinned 2 of the edges together and just worked on the rest of the sides to make it longer across and longer down. And then I sewed them together, and you know, when I had my 2 hexagons, and can I just say, so satisfying seeing this come together. Like, it was exactly what origami year 3 me wanted and needed and expected. Like, it was so satisfying, I cannot even tell you. So that was good. And then I got on to making the collar. Did the collar, and it took a few kind of goes, and you can, like, there was a video of mine where I kind of talked about the difficulty of construction I was having. I redid the collar a few times, and I actually used various different patterns of people who'd done it differently, and I came up with a collar that I do actually quite like. So I switched from the granny stitch to just double crochet all the way around. So the original hexagon was like this, and then I was able to add this on. And the other way that I thought I might kind of make this less of a cardigan was I wanted to add the edging. So I've added these scallops here, and I added them around the collar as well. So a slightly little kind of sailor vibe, which once again is very, very removed from like how I see a lot of the hexagon cardis modelled. I changed the design, I changed the wool, I changed the trimmings, I changed the collar, I changed all of these things. I added buttons. I did all of those things differently. And I just finished sewing on the buttons, and I've got a hexagon cardi. It's not a shirt, it is a cardigan. I have made it way too big. Also, I did not think through the construction of the buttons. So for a start, they're on the side rather than the center like a traditional shirt. And I know I could move them, but I do that and it's not staying in place because I did not do buttonholes for the buttons. And you got to commit, you know, I was like, oh, I'll do buttons, it'll be different. I need to go the whole hog and do buttonholes as well. And just, yeah, that's what happens because these buttons are really small. But if I'd got really big ones, then they would have been pulling at this. I like the colour. I love the scallops. I love the construction. I look at this, and even though it looks exactly like a million hex cardigans that I have seen and thought, oh, that's nice for them, like it's not for me, I have different feelings about this because it was so satisfying to make. But it is a hexagon cardigan, which I have spent the last few years being like, yeah, not for me. Up there with the ranunculus and the emotional support chicken of things that I do not personally feel the need to make, even though I can see why they are so popular. I think I will probably wear it. I'm going to take the buttons off just because they're annoying me so much, and I love these buttons, so I might be able to use them on something else. I should just not have made it so wide. I just made it too big. I didn't want it to be tight. And to be fair, it is a tiny bit tight across the shoulders, but in terms of all of this fabric, it's not. What's my takeaway from this? Definitely use a lighter wool. Definitely make it smaller than you think you're going to need. Do a kind of a placket thing for the buttons so you can actually do it up. So I'm currently doing the Tom Daly shirt. He has a placket for the buttons. I can already see it's going to be so much better for that. And I think at the end, it's all right for us to make stuff just because we want to make it, just because it's fun and enjoyable. But yeah, be prepared that you might end up with a hexagon cardigan even when you're trying to do every single thing not to make it into a hexagon cardigan. I really thought I'd crack this, and I've just made myself a nice hexagon cardigan. Hey, I genuinely thought I had finished that with this video and that I had finished this cardigan. And then I did a bit of a challenge for myself of working on projects that I'd been avoiding or that had been making me feel miserable. And I ended up working on this a bit more. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to this. This is done. But I did add the placket with the buttons, and I like it a lot more, and I am actually more likely to wear it, I think. It's still very much a cardigan. Like, there is no way that I have rehabilitated this into the shirt I wanted, but I just like the buttons more. I like it more. I feel less frumpy and less kind of unconfident while wearing it. You know, I wouldn't say I feel confident wearing it, but I feel less miserable when I'm wearing it. And I will give it a shot and I will try and wear it a few times. One thing that did strike me as I was working on it is like, oh wow, I love the placket. And as you know, I love the color. And I'm like, yeah, it's just because they're the same stitch, like I think half crochet or half double crochet. And I'm like, yeah, I just wish I'd done the shirt in this whole thing. Like maybe granny stitch was never going to be the stitch for me to make a satisfying hexagonal shirt. I don't think I'm going to revisit it this summer because I'm actually making another shirt for myself, and I'm also making a shirt for my partner. And I can imagine maybe next summer I might revisit the idea of doing a shirt in a similar color because I like it with the scallops, but I'm glad I made the effort to do that tiny bit more. And I hope you found this video interesting. I feel like a lot of the time in the online world of crochet, we just see people's best work. You know, we see the stuff that they've like that they're really proud of and they post, which is understandable, like, but maybe this will be nice to kind of see someone talk through a project that didn't go as well, and maybe you've got some of your own projects that you haven't enjoyed as much either, or maybe you just enjoy watching the car crash. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, make whatever you want, do whatever you want. Bye.